Hi guys, so today we are here to learn more about defensive riding as we have been promising you on our Instagram page and psyching people up. We did ask lots of you to give us your questions so that we'll be able to give you a few of the answers. So let's start. I'm here with Nyawira.
Miss Nyawira!
And Wasike.
Wasike here.
So let's get started. Miss Nyawira,
What's up?
what do you think of defensive riding?
I think it's get away from my bike! Get away from my bike!
Clearly she has a different perspective of defensive riding. So let's go to the professional and ask him, what is defensive riding? Wasike, maybe you can enlighten us a bit today.
Thank you, Ash. Hi all. Defensive riding. It's a manner of riding in which the rider creates space or bubble for safety. Puts himself in a position where he is not likely to be surprised by other road users, weather or terrain.
So now, Mwalimu, so now defensive riding is not my theatrics. Now that you've told me what it is, what next? Now I know that it's about checking my environment and making sure that I'm safe, and then?
So it's about the rider exercising what we call the 3 lines of defense.
3?
Yes.
Only 3?
3.
Oh
Just
my
3.
gosh. Number 1?
The first line of defense is a mental skill, which under it is human factors, the IAMSAFE, the illness, attitude, medication, sleep, alcohol, food, and emotion. Lifestyle also, under the human factors. Perception. Yeah, having a skill of being able to see early in advance.
I can see you.
Also being able to anticipate what might happen before it happens.
Okay.
So we teach people on how to get clues before eventualities. So you are able to assess around you and put numbers together and be able to identify any potential hazard before it becomes actual. So that's all under mental skill.
That was all number 1?
Yes.
I was trying to count 1, 2, 3.
That was all under number 1. My mental.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So the second line of defense is
2 guys.
physical skill.
No?
Well, the rider did not anticipate a hazard in good time. Now a hazard has materialized, and now it's actual. Before it was actual, they did not factor it. Since it's actual, so you have to deal with it, and you have to act. This stage involves operation. So this is where your physical skills come into act.
Okay.
How good are you on braking? How good are you on avoidance?
Okay.
So the rider here has to exercise either braking or avoidance, whichever is suitable for the situation.
All right.
So that's 2.
That's 2.
Okay.
The third line of defense
Number 3.
is riding gear. So it's until that moment when the mental skill has failed and the physical skill has failed, and surely you're gonna crash. That's when you need gear. Yeah, because then gear should be available to take the impact, because there's no otherwise, you're gonna crash. So gear comes in as the last resort after failure of physical skills and mental skills.
Okay. So number 3 is gear.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Wow. That is such a good lesson. Thanks, man.
You're
So,
welcome.
Yeah.
what are the 2 you've gotten?
Of course, gear. So So what he said is, I've got to look good all the time, you know. I'm kidding. That you've got to have the right gear to take the impact of what your physical and mental were unable to do. Mashka, your summary. I'm a good student, right?
Very good. Clap for her. Woo! So,
Right.
Oh, Mwalimu, there's
Yes, Ash.
there's many questions that we get on our groups, even on social media. You hear some people saying, "Hey, me, I can learn split at 80," and I'm thinking, really? So, just to kill that assumption, and the people who walk the bike while lane splitting, what is the safest mode for lane split?
Thank Ash for that question. It's really a very valid question. Lane splitting is done all over the world. Most states consider it illegal, but most riders will always lane split because, of course, why would you own a bike if you can't move? However, people don't understand that it's very dangerous, apart from it being illegal. So we advise that if you're lane splitting, you are in charge. When people are moving, you're moving faster than them. And if they've stopped, you're the only guy moving. So you're in charge. Watch out for opening doors, watch out for pedestrians crossing, watch out for cars trying to change lanes. Some drivers are tired, they want to stretch themselves, they want to come out of the cars if they stop. You should be able to brake and stop in case someone pulls out of you during the splitting. So the speed we advise is at least 10 kilometers per hour above the moving traffic. So if traffic is moving at 10 kilometers per hour, you can only move 20 kilometers per hour. And we believe you can be able to stop within the distance you see to be clear. If the traffic is moving at 30 kilometers per hour, please don't lane split. 30 kilometers per hour speed is enough to move you. And any speed above 30 kilometers per hour might need longer reaction time and longer stopping distances.
Okay.
So
yeah, I hear what you said about lane splitting, and let me just ask you about beep 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 beep, vroom, vroom, vroom,
The
when I'm lane
noisemakers.
splitting. What I mean, does that help me?
well, many people believe that loud pipe saves life. I think there are a lot of slogans that people say loud pipe save life. And I want to ask that question. If you believe that, then I want to ask you a question. So if you have put a loud pipe and you're passing through this section of the road today, you're hard because you're the only guy who is noisier. Everybody else should be quiet to hear you. What if tomorrow you woke up and found everybody with a loud pipe, every car with louder pipe than yours, and every pedestrian with fufuzela, and every rider, every boda hooting, beep, 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 then would it save your life?
No, it's ugly, but
Yeah, it's an attitude. It's a way of trying to be different from others. And this, over a long time, it creates us into a very bad hazard because we think that we're more special. It makes us feel we're more special than others. When everybody else has stopped or when everybody else is moving, you need to be louder to be heard, to be safe. What you're doing is you are directly substituting the responsibility of your own actions towards your own safety to others. What if the others don't react? And I've asked this question to many riders. We know that we have to hoot at somebody who is on the offside. What about if that person was deaf? Have you ever thought about that?
So no more hooting,
or even
no more raving in traffic.
Or if they didn't see
Manage your skills
Yeah,
well.
like
Learn your skills. Learn your lane
you, or if
splitting
they were
skills.
just
Well,
they
I
were
guess
just in a
okay.
situation.
I guess what you're saying makes sense because the animals, they don't hear the vroom vroom and the peep peep, or do they?
They will hear. You will expect
Like their
them.
reaction will not.
When you hoot at animals, they will hear you. Definitely, they will hear you.
Mm.
And you hooting expect feedback, right? When you hoot, you expect feedback.
Yeah.
In your mind, you might be expecting feedback that you always get from human beings.
Yes.
And today, you might get a very surprising feedback from the animal.
That's true. Yeah.
True.
So
Don't
we don't
speak
hoot at
the same
animals. We
language.
let them quietly move for us.
Okay.
But when you hoot at them, the reaction of that animal could be more hazardous than we expected.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
So another thing, this lady is riding on the road. A boda boda has been cutting in front of her. Cars are just like, you get to a junction, a car just comes. Another, you're following a car, it's indicating right, then it turns left. How do you maintain your emotions, your mental state when you're on the bike? Sometimes we are human, you get agitated, and you know what happens when you're agitated, the kind of reaction that follows it. So how would you best advise us when we are on the road and on the bike?
Yeah. Thank you, Ash. Emotion is actually a human factor that's very, very relevant in your safety as a rider. I have seen people lose their lives because they tried to prove a point to the people that may be wrong to them, or people that looked mindless towards them, and they tried to prove a point. And we also say, please don't bring a fight in a car field on a motorcycle. You will always lose. Our emotion impact to others' attitude. Sometimes we think they are wrong, but they are human beings. Maybe they didn't see us. Maybe they were under influence. Maybe they were being chased by a situation and they had to do what they did. And if you try to prove a point, you are on the losing end. So emotion actually is a very important element to watch out for all the time you ride. Simple acts as as being courteous, yeah, will save your life. Just letting them go even if they are on the wrong. Or sometimes the law is on your side, but you just give up and say, okay, fine, let them take it. You don't know. You will always be on the losing end as a rider.
But sometimes, it's not, okay, so I've calmed down and then this guy stops and I see he has stopped. Can't I just stop and tell him off and just release myself?
Yeah, you can do that, but question is, do you really have authority over them?
No, but they can know that they aggrieved me so that they don't do that the next time to somebody else.
If the situation allows that you can talk to them, then I would advise that you really be humble to them and talk to them in a manner that you feel they will understand what you're saying. And yeah, positively it will impact towards change, and they might not do that to somebody else. If they did it without notice and they are apologetic, then you have a bigger chance of telling them something that will help save somebody's life tomorrow. But if you, it's up to your assessment. If you think they did it deliberately, for example, then it's a straight fight if you stop.
Oh, one more question, guys. So we have this group of riders who believe, we're going for a long distance ride. When we have a stopover, I can have a beer or two. We know about alcohol and driving and riding. Mwalimu, what is your opinion on this? Maybe someone out there has not gotten it clearly that it is not safe to drink and ride. So
we consider a motorcycle like a fighter jet, and the rider as a jet pilot. Sometimes it really doesn't require your physical action to save a situation. You need to be very proactive before a situation unfolds. And you can only be able to identify what might go wrong 2 seconds in the future if your mind is in good state. maybe I explain a bit about alcohol, some information that people are not told in driving schools and on the basic rider classes. That alcohol content in the blood impairs your vision, also impairs the timing between the perception, neuron cortex, and mental reaction, because we actually don't see. Our retina opens to pick pictures, and these pictures have to be sent to the brain, scanned, and then identified if there's an image. This takes up to 1 second, sometimes up to 1.5 seconds for us to be able to identify an image. So that delay alone naturally brings us very close to the hazard. If we are traveling at 100 kilometers per hour speed, for example, we are covering 27.7 meters per second. And naturally, you will lose 1.5 seconds before you perceive the hazard. What if you have 1 unit of alcohol content in your blood? Then you might lose 3 seconds, and that's almost 70 meters of your self-stopping disc. So alcohol is really dangerous. Even when you think you're not drunk, you do not know how your brain works. Your brain works against your notice. And if you impair your brain, you will not notice. But it's evident that even 1 unit of alcohol content in your blood will impair your brain function.
I guess also, probably to add to that, I'm just thinking about drugs. You know, I think people should read the content, like what the side effects of the drugs that you're
Medication.
taking. Yeah. Yes, medication. Thanks. Medication you're taking, because it also could have an impact on.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Not could, it does.
it does.
We're talking about IAMSAFE, and IAMSAFE means illness, which also impairs your actions, impairs your brain function, impairs your vision, impairs your muscles, impairs everything in your body as a human being. Attitude, same thing. Medication, same point. Yeah, so that IAM, and then safe means sleep, even sleep. If you dizzy off, you know, before you dizzy off, your brain sleeps before you dizzy off, and the reaction of your brain becomes very, very like scattered, and you lose a lot of information that should be running through all over. So even sleep is a very big factor to your safety. And then alcohol, like I mentioned, and then food. For example, if you're hungry, you don't have enough glucose in your body, and some part of the brain will have to release blood to come and support the digestion in the stomach, and the brain function also lessens. Yeah, and emotions, as I mentioned.
Rah. Hey. Okay.
We have taken in a lot. So, Ms. Nyawira, what do you have to share with the biking community? What have you learned today?
Oh my gosh, guys, I'm going to put a summary in a few minutes, or rather in the next few seconds. But it is really interesting to imagine that defensive riding has so much to do with me. It starts with me, right? And if you have listened to the entire clip, Wasike has been very, very clear about the things that you need to know the minute you want, even you're thinking about getting a machine, not just this one, but any machine, okay? You have to have all that together so that when you go, you come back. Because at home,
We're waiting for
we're
you.
waiting. Somebody's waiting for you, and if they're not, Miss Nyawira is waiting to make you a silly video. So please, yeah, let us be more aggressive about the way we ride by thinking through what you're offering yourself every time you get to the road. Thank you, Wasike.
Most welcome, Nyawira.
Thank you, Ash.
was
And
great time.
together we have 31 defensive riding.
Thank you.
Stop That was nice. I think we have come.